And President Donald Trump has signaled that he may still meet Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping later this month, even as he announced an additional tariff of 100% on all Chinese imports. Now, these new tariffs will come on top of levies already in place. Trump has said that the extra levies plus U.S. export controls on any and all critical software would come into effect from November 1st in retaliation for what he called Beijing's extraordinarily aggressive moves. The U.S. president then called into question his plans to meet Xi at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit later this month. But later he suggested that meetings still happen.
No, I haven't. So, but I don't know that we're going to have it. But I'm going to be there regardless, so I would assume we might have it. But they hit the world with something that really is not anything that people are going to do, and it was shocking.
Now, earlier, Trump had written a lengthy social media post slamming China and accusing Beijing of imposing hostile restrictions on rare earth mineral production. Trump claims that several countries have reached out to the U.S. that are allegedly angry at sudden curbs imposed by Beijing. Trump's tariff announcement comes a day after China's Commerce Ministry announced fresh export curbs on 5 additional rare earth minerals. The 5 metals that Beijing has added to the restrictions list are holmium, erbium, thulium, europium, and ytterbium. Now, in April this year, Beijing announced similar restrictions on 7 other critical rare earth minerals. Donald Trump was asked whether he would take the tariffs if China rolled back their export controls in the new announcement. And Trump replied that he is going to have to see what happens, adding that that's why he had set the tariff deadline as November 1st. Now, according to China's latest restriction, foreign companies will need to obtain special approvals from Beijing if they wish to export rare earth magnets and certain semiconductor materials that have at least 0.1% heavy rare earth metals from China. The move restricts alternatives that were available to Washington amid ongoing negotiations to smooth trade ties with Beijing. U.S. stocks fell sharply on Friday after Trump signaled that new levies against Chinese goods were in the offing. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq suffered their biggest one-day percentage decline since April 10th, while Treasury yields dropped and the U.S. dollar weakened. An expert said that the S&P 500 raised $1.2 trillion of market value. Now, in another development, the Trump administration proposed a ban on Chinese airlines, which are from flying Russian airspace en route to and from the U.S. Currently, American airlines end up taking a longer route to avoid Russian airspace, putting U.S. carriers at a disadvantage. China reacted to this development, saying that the move is detrimental to people-to-people exchanges between the two countries. All right, for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tarani has sent us this report from New York. Listen in.
President Trump has threatened to impose 100% tariffs on all Chinese goods starting on November 1st. This after Beijing introduced new restrictions on rare earth mineral exports, material vital for U.S. industries from chips to fighter jets. Calling China's moves, quote, sinister and hostile, President Trump said that he may or may not cancel his meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in South Korea. The White House is also weighing additional countermeasures, including export control on U.S. software. The confrontation set markets tumbling, the S&P 500 dropping over 2%. China, which produces about 70% of the world's rare earths and refines 90%, recently announced tighter global licensing rules that could disrupt supply chains for electric vehicles, semiconductors, as well as defense manufacturing, deepening tensions between the world's 2 largest economies. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.